So, how familiar are you with, let's say, life and death? Like, we're gonna start with the most basic, and we're gonna build from there. Okay.
Okay.
So they're alive.
Yeah, they're dead.
Yeah. Okay. Here.
Still dead.
Okay. And there.
If they manage to get one on B19, then they're alive.
Yeah. And can white kill?
White can still kill, yeah.
In the same point or in a different one?
It has to be same point.
Okay. What about this one?
They'd have to be able to get C and B19.
So they're alive.
Yeah, they're alive.
Yeah. Okay. So we know the most basic ones. Now let's take a look at some of these ones. So these right here are what we call the Nakare shapes. And this it's written like this. These are 6 shapes that are like the fundamental life and death shapes. All of these, you already know one. We already saw one, which is the 3 in a line. This one, A. And the good thing about these ones is that it's always the same place. Okay, so it's always the same vital point. And these ones repeat a lot. They appear a lot in matches. And usually when you see them, you're either gonna see something just being alive or just dying. Okay?
Okay.
Probably the most important one is C, I would say. So
C?
yeah, because that one actually happens a lot. So just quick, what are the vital points of them?
Of C?
Mm-hmm.
For C, it would be M9. I think that's M9 and L9, or M9 and M10. As if they have to get both of those to keep it alive.
Okay, so let's go one then. Let's go to A. We already solved A, right? So that's just the B. Which one is B?
B is for M4.
M4. D.
D is wait. D is, I think that's D. Is that no? That's D8.
Okay, with E.
E is E14.
Okay, so these are like, let's say, the easy cases because they're kind of built out of the others in a way, sort of. And then we have F and C, and they're still part of the Nakare shapes. And the characteristic of the Nakare shapes is that they only have one vital point. So whoever plays there, it's either dead or alive. There's only one.
Oh, only 1 point? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's go back to C.
Well, for the 1 point for C, it would have to be M9, I'd say.
Yeah. And what about F?
F would be M15.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go why in these cases is still just one. So the thing here is that once black plays here, you already form this eye and this eye.
Yeah.
So that's 2 eyes, and you don't really need anything else. And to kill is the same with white. Once you do this, it's dead. Because it can only make another Nakare shape. So if black plays here, is this one below. And this one below, you already know it's dead with this. So it's already dead. So basically, it doesn't matter what black does after this. It cannot be saved locally, let's say.
Yeah.
It can only find, like maybe if it can kill something in the outside or things like that, then it can leave. But locally, it cannot make 2 eyes. And the same is true with F here. because again, black can only make other Nagare shapes inside. Like this one is the one below, but upside down. Here is 90 degrees rotated, and here's another one. So you can always reduce it to another Nagare shape, and you will see that it's already dead.
Okay.
This also means if someone tries to kill you and they don't hit you on the vital point, then you can just leave. Because that's not the vital point. Any other point is not the vital point, and you can still leave. Okay? Now, sometimes, for example, let's say they hit you here, and so even though this group right here is dead locally, it can still be used as a co-thread for black. So let's say if black has 2 moves, how can it leave?
I would say giving black 2 moves. I would say I think that's M10 and L9, I believe.
Yeah. So it'll be here and here. And the reason for this is because, so now we know that M10 is a co-thread. That means you can use it to win a co. This is what we call like a zombie group.
Yeah.
Like this, because it's not capture, it's dead but not capture. And the reason why M10 is a co-thread is because the shape inside after M10 is not an Nagare shape.
Okay.
It's this shape right here. It's this like Tetris L.
Yeah.
And since this is not an Nagare shape, it doesn't have only one vital point. It actually has 2. This and this. And white has only occupied one of them. Which means if white needs to kill, it needs to occupy the second one as well.
Yeah.
Okay? So this is useful because now we know. So all of these are Nagare shapes. These are like limit cases. So whoever the turn is, it's gonna either live or die. And then we have the dead shapes, which is just 1 point, the 2 point, and I want to talk about this case, the square. So we'll call this A. So what's the state of A? They're alive.
I'd say it can be alive. It's alive.
It's alive?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll try to kill you. How do you leave?
Now it's dead.
Okay, then how do you make it leave?
Well, you need like S2 and T1.
Can you have both?
No.
Then what's the state of the group?
It's dead.
It's dead. Exactly. So the square is dead because it needs two moves to live.
Yeah.
So you could say it owns vital points. Like it has a depth of vital points basically. It's not like these are 2 vital points, but instead, if it plays here, there, then the other it's gonna be a vital point. And the reason for this is actually simple when we look at Nagare forms. This is a Nagare form. The triangle. It's right here. And we know Nagare forms are 1 move away from living or dying. So if we make a Nagare form, then our opponent can kill it. And the same happens whenever we play. It's always the triangle, just rotated. It's just in a different position. So that means the square is dead. So now you know this. If you see a square in your opponent, you don't kill it because it's dead. If you see a square on you, you don't save it because it's dead.
Okay.
You only use it as a co-thread. Like if you're playing a co, you can play here as a co-thread. If they don't answer, you can leave. If they answer, you take the call.
Okay.
And this is very important when we're looking at any group that it could be like a massive group, super big, but it's fully surrounded. Okay, this has to be completely surrounded. If it is completely surrounded and there are no weaknesses you can attack, this group is the same shape as before. Because the shape inside is still the same. The eye space, let's say. Okay.
Okay.
So now we'll take a look at a couple of other shapes. So we already took a look at this one, the 4 in line. So the good thing about the 4 in line is that now it's 2 vital points.
Yeah.
And so this means white cannot kill, but white can use one as a co-threat.
Okay.
Right? Because if white has 2 turns, it can kill.
Yeah.
Here. Because it will take both vital points. Okay? Another shape that is completely alive, always, is the... I call it like the little thunder. This one. Like a little thunder thingy.
Yeah.
Like a lightning. That one is always alive as well. Because it also has 2 vital points. Okay, so if any of your groups has this shape inside, you don't have to care about it anymore.
Okay.
And the last one that is a little bit complicated is the L shape. The Tetris L. So this one is alive if it's on the center. If it's on the side. And sometimes when it's on the corner. So corner is a little bit of an exception. Here. So we'll put 2 of those in different positions. So if we're looking at the left corner, can you kill it?
No.
Why not? Where are the vital points?
B1 and C1.
Yeah, so if I take one, black can take the other, and it's fine, and the other way around. Now, what about this corner, A right here?
That one can be killed.
Can be killed. Okay, how do you kill it?
S1.
S1. Okay, so now it's black turn. Is there something you can do to leave?
No.
Are you sure?
Well, if you put, let's say you put, you could do a co-thread, I guess, if you put it at T1, but then white would just kill at T1.
Okay, so white plays, but that doesn't kill.
It doesn't?
No, it's not capture. It's a call.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So now it's a call. And the thing is, okay, let's say there is a call somewhere else. Something like this. Okay? So once white captures, so white capture is display, 1. Then black can do a co-thread. That's going to be 1, 2. And white needs to decide. Either I capture here and I ignore the call, or I answer the call somehow, and then black retakes.
Okay.
So basically, this is one of the few exceptions for live shapes. If the L, this is like the, I don't remember, it's the 4, bend 4, something like that. If it's here on the corner, then it kind of depends. Okay, so what that means is if you see, 4 in line, always alive. The lightning, always alive. then the bend 4, it depends. Most of the time it's alive, but if it's here in the corner, like it's completely hugging the corner like this, then it owes a move. Black actually needs to play inside in one of the vital points to avoid a call. So that's like one of the exceptions of the what we call the shapes that are alive.
Okay.
So pretty much every other, almost every other big group is alive. There are some exceptions, and though there's a little bit more complicated stuff. But if you know these basic shapes, that will help you to survive a lot more in matches. So you can always look at what it's inside. So if we put only what's inside the ice space with stones, so basically, let's say this group right here, it's ice space. We're gonna represent it with the black. Okay, so it's an eye of one space. Okay, so we know these shapes are dead. If that's inside of a group, then it's dead. Okay. Then Nakare shapes will be 3. We have the hat, let's say. This one is called the bulky 5, or some people call it the turtle. And you actually, because it has like, the shell here, there's the head here, and you kill the turtle by cutting the head. That way it's easier to remember. We have the triangle, and we have the, I don't know, the fish maybe. And then on alive shapes, we have this, and sometimes this. So, dead, limit case, what we call Nakare. And these are always alive, and this one is almost always alive.
Okay.
So this, it's basically, it's kind of like the basic building blocks, kind of like a periodic table of life and death. A lot of the things that you come into and problems that you will see on Life and Death are based building upon these blocks. If you know these blocks, you should have an easier time looking at that Life and Death. Now, a lot of the time, you also want to, let's say, avoid this. Basically, we learn this in order to avoid it. It's kind of weird. We actually do a lot of that in Go. It's a very common thing. So sometimes, if you have a group somewhere in the board, you always want ice space. So basically, if a group it's surrounded or it's in danger, you don't want to think on Nakare or eye shape, how the eye shape exactly looks here yet. You want to just make more space. And it's only when you run out of space and things get like really tricky that you start thinking about Nakare shapes. I don't know, maybe this. Like here, for example, if black plays here, this right here, or let's say what's inside rather, it's an Nakare shape. It's a turtle. And black hasn't closed this. Which means if black closes, it's gonna die. Right?
Oh, okay.
But if black plays here, what happens there?
Well, I mean, white can go there. Then... Well, I'd assume white would try to creep in, and then you just put a stone on S14.
Yeah, that's the best move. So here, and then here. So black was able to live in this position because black knows that this is a turtle. If it closes, and it just played in the turtle shape immediately. and that gives black Miai of making a second eye here or here, which is another Nakata shape. So in situations like this, you can always try to remember the shapes. Again, this is gonna be on the video if you wanna like take a screenshot of it or something later, because they are very easy when I mean very useful when you know them.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go to a match, one of your matches, and we're gonna review a little bit over it. If you're okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay. So right here, down here, what we have here, very happy about this because this is a Yoseki. You play this whole Yoseki. Did you do that on purpose, or do you feel like doing it? What happened there?
I just kind of like, I remembered what we did in the lesson, and I was like, well, I want to kick, and then I want to like get that other stone there, and so it's on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's very good. Now later, what happens here? Do you remember what's the purpose of touching in Go?
Isn't it to like solidify your point or to solidify that position there?
Yeah. So basically, when you touch, it's a defensive move. So usually we touch when we want both sides to be strong in that position. Okay. So I'm not against touching here. I think it's fine because if both solidify here and we both make a wall here, the territory of white will be smaller than the territory of black. Okay. So in that sense, touching is fine. Now that said, since there's nothing weak here, like for example, if we play here or here, none of your stones are weak. Meaning you don't really need to forcify them very much.
Okay.
Okay? By playing here, you kind of ask white to keep doing stuff here. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
So sometimes if we have a position, if white is already strong here, it could be better to approach it a little bit from far away. Usually for third line, and just a little bit farther. It's usually like 1 point jump or a knight's move.
Okay.
Now crosscuts. So this is a crosscut. This is a common fighting technique. So we touch, we get a hane, and then we crosscut. Crosscuts, the intention of crosscuts is to cause chaos. Okay? So basically, when you cut like this, you want a big fight. So my question for you is, you want a big fight here or not?
Say that again, sorry. It blanked out.
Okay, so you crosscut in this position, which is when you play this, and then you cut here.
Yeah.
This means you want to fight.
Yeah.
And my question for you is, did you want to fight in this position?
I did, but if I remember correctly, that attack didn't end out well for me because I figured I had enough space between where I was and like the bottom of the board to where he wouldn't be able to kill that group instantly. So I was like, oh, I'll be able to maneuver something, but I don't think it worked out.
Yeah. So, you remember how to stabilize the K17 stone in the side?
Wouldn't it be like if they move one way, you jump 2 spaces the other way, or are you talking about the extension?
Yeah, like if you want to give a base to this stone, how would you do it on the side?
I would jump 2 spaces to the right to,
like here.
Yeah. Wait. 1, 2. Yeah.
Yeah, this one works as well. So you have these two ways of stabilizing that, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you want to stabilize this pillar, where would you do it?
You could jump 3 spaces to the left or right?
Yeah. So either here or here, or let's mark it like this. So 1, 2. It can be, and this time it can be either on 3rd line or on 4th line. So this means this group right here is stable, because it already spent the extra stone jumping 3. So when something is stable, it's hard to attack.
Okay.
Okay, so if we get in a fight here, so we touch and we started a fight, this fight is always gonna be bad for you because white started stable locally in this position.
Okay.
Which means if you get separated and if you try to leave inside, it's gonna be really hard. Even if you leave, you're gonna give too much power to white. So that's why I was recommending maybe here approaching from farther, because since this is already strong, maybe we don't want a direct fight with it.
Okay.
So let's say if we play like here and white also kicks, we can just extend.
Yeah.
And like before, this wall looks good with this stone right here for territory here. And both territories look kind of similar, but white's actually, I mean, black is a little bit better, in fact. It's just a little bit, like, bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, so cross cut, we go down here. So this is a move I want you to forget forever. This crawling in 1st line. There's almost no situation where this is a good move. The only situation where you crawl down to 1st line is when you are closing territories. But this is not a territory problem. This is a life and death problem, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Because there is no territory here. Whoever lives here, it's gonna be alive. And that's gonna turn into territory, right? But you are not closing your territory. So the move I want you to start doing when you have problems like this is this move.
Okay.
Okay? Because this starts to make a cut in white's shape. So I'm still not sure if this is gonna live or not, okay? But it's still a better move because it asks something for white. Whether white wants to fix or not. If they don't fix, maybe I have a cut, maybe I can start a fight, etc. But this is always gonna be a better move than this one.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
You only like touch 1st line once you're closing territory. And when you know things are alive. Okay, so we get a cut here. So from here, do you want to keep playing locally or not?
I'd probably want to expand somewhere out.
Yeah, exactly. Where do you think would be a good place to go?
I'd say either do a knight's move to the star point on Q, or move to the star point on D.
Okay, and so in a situation like this, all of those moves are correct. It can be a Chimari here, a Chimari here. Now, I would like something a little bit more active just because your stones are relatively close to others.
Okay.
So, again, this is like, it's the smallest difference, but this is the place where black lacks the most. Okay? So it's just that.
Okay.
Now, continuing here, both players continue here. So this is something we talked about the previous class. If something is stable, in this case, white is stable, white cannot die. It's invincible, right? Because it has an Akare Cheb inside. So it can make 2 eyes at any point, but it also has stones on the outside. So it's literally invincible.
Okay.
That means white doesn't want to play here. And black also doesn't want to play here because since white's so strong, anything black does will be inefficient. Like if we close like this, that's inefficient because now we have Hane over 2, which is very strong. We have to start doing things, and everything is inefficient. It's so hard to close this. So we just ignore it. We just say, okay, we're not gonna close it. It's inefficient to get points here. Let's get points somewhere else.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so here, this is a very similar situation to what happens on the 3-4. So it's knight's move, then kick, and then always the best response is to extend.
Okay.
Okay, because after that, there starts to being some weaknesses on this shape. Okay, so here your best move is to just extend, just like that, and then white has to do something around here. Usually it does something like this or like this, and then you have 2 stones on the side, and you can stabilize that with a 3-point jump. Okay.
Yeah. See, my plan with doing that move was always trying to sneak out and get the corner, but I guess I should probably try to do it to stabilize the side more.
Yeah. So something about the 4-4. The 4-4 is the most versatile stone, and that means it can have center, side, or corner. And a lot of the time, it depends how the opponent approaches it. If I approach it from the side, I have to accept that sometimes the opponent will negate the side, or negate the corner, let's say.
Okay.
So if we play like this, if they go for the other side, then we can take some of the corner, but we will never be able to take the full corner from a knight's move. Okay?
Okay. Gotcha.
If we actually want the corner, we just play like this.
Okay.
Just play inside, and then we get some kind of closure here. You take the whole corner, and the other one takes center.
Okay.
So remember, always when you approach from this, white might negate the corner, let's say.
Okay. Cool.
Now, later on, when we'll get more strong and maybe on future classes, we're gonna look at some weaknesses here, because this is actually not, white doesn't have the corner right now, actually. This corner is an illusion, okay? But let's don't care too much about it for now, okay? Because it's a little bit more advanced. We go here. Okay, so from here, you are stable. Where would you like it? Like, you have 2 options. You can either leave black, or you can stabilize black a little bit more. How would you stabilize black?
I would stabilize. Well, that's pretty secure, I guess. Probably like N17, I believe. N17.
Okay, so you're just leaving that group.
Yeah, just like stabilizing that group over there, because the other one, like the other corners that I have stones around them relatively closely. So.
Okay. Yep, I like that idea. And now, if let's say you want to stabilize this group, where would you play?
Oh, probably like it's 3, so like a 4 space jump away.
Okay, where?
C9 or E9 or D9 or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so this is an idea very good for you to remember on your forward games. This or this is better than this.
Okay.
Okay, because if we go A, if we go B, we just stabilize and we forget about that group until it gets attacked or something. But if we go A, we keep putting pressure here. And the thing is, we actually haven't built ice space necessarily, because white can still go here.
Yeah.
And if white goes here, and if we answer from the inside, suddenly this is very inefficient, because we're just jumping 2 from a wall that it asks for a bigger jump.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So if you get a situation like this, you actually need to attack from the other side and ask white how is it gonna leave. Now the problem is there is kind of enough space, and then black needs to keep attacking somehow. Since black doesn't have ice space, it needs to escape to the center and start a fight. Okay. Now if we just play like this, just stabilize, we're basically asking white, hey, my group is stable. If you want to attack, okay, try it. I'll just defend. But if you ignore it, okay, I ignore it. We keep playing somewhere else.
Okay.
Always try to see if you can just stabilize something so you can ignore it as fast as possible. As soon as possible, rather. Yeah, so here we ignore, and I think that's the best. Because even though this move kind of hurts here, because it's Hane over 2. Hane over 2 is usually a good move. It also, it's there's just not a whole lot of value keep playing here. So that's good. Very good, very good. Okay, here's something. So when we only extend like this if usually when we're being touched. Or where we're closing something very big. Like for example, here, this is a large knight moves, and this is the largest knight move. So if you want to secure like very, very safe, the extension would be to this side.
Okay, gotcha.
Because this light is larger. Now, when the stone is a little bit farther, like this one, and it's not touching you, you have the right of jumping. And it actually covers more space. You can either do that, or you can pressure directly too. Like you can, I don't know, this, asking why is it gonna do after your move, after the pressure.
Yeah.
Things like that. Okay, so we secure this. Again, since this is a wall, we can actually play farther. And white takes the corner. Okay, so here, we always take the bigger side. So where will you attack white here?
We always take the bigger side?
Mm-hmm. Because white needs to live on the corner. You want to reduce white space.
Oh, so you probably try to creep in on B3?
Yeah, that's stronger than this.
Okay.
Because otherwise, if we go here, white can take this. And it's gonna live bigger. So usually when things like this happen, here, white actually had to go here to leave just relaxed. Okay? But since white went to the smaller space, this space right here is smaller because stone in second line it's gonna have territory on first line, and it's also close to your wall. That's smaller than this.
Okay.
And it's way more close than this. Than a stone here, if it doesn't get contested, it's gonna get inside the territory, right?
Yeah.
So white goes for this, then you take white's rights of having a big group. They have to go back, and they have to leave smaller. So always try to think about that. If you're the one trying to leave, try to look for the biggest space. Which side is bigger? And if you're the one, trying to kill or trying to reduce, because here you cannot kill white, but you can make it smaller. And that's all that matters. Yeah, here. So remember, when something is close, like this, usually moves on the inside, they tend to be bad moves. The only position where there are good moves is when you can read the sequence until the end.
Okay, yeah.
So for your future games, I want you to never play here or here. You only play here if you can read until the white stones disappear from the board. Okay? If you cannot
Okay.
read that, ignore it. And just cover your weaknesses, because there's a weakness here. And as soon as white gets initiative, it's gonna go for that. And that's gonna crush all this territory. Okay, so a lot of the time when we're trying things, it can backfire a little bit, and especially when we're trying to go from the inside. So now you also know this inside here, this is way bigger than a Nagare form, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I just don't know how to kill it. And maybe it will take me too much to read that. So instead, I'll just wait. You know, I'll play here. We're gonna keep playing. Maybe white, it's scary anyways, and maybe it loses a point, plays inside. If it does that, I have another turn outside now.
Yeah.
Right? If it doesn't do that, maybe in the end, you know, when I have more time, I'll actually read something here. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so keep going here. See if there's something more interesting at the end. So here's the same. White, if white goes from the outside, it just reduces your territory. Right? But if white attacks from the inside, then you get the initiative. And then white, it's like, oh, I lost a stone. And I lost some territory.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's why you usually go outside first. And then when you can see something that you know in the inside, you go for the inside. Yeah, and the rest should be just Jose. Oh, there's an invasion here. Okay, so this invasion... Let's see. Okay, it lived. This invasion should not live. Let's go a little bit over this. Just to have some tools in case this happens on another match. So... when we have one stone here, you really don't know what's going to happen. This stone can be either center or side or corner. When we have two stones, so we have one on fourth, and we do the first Chimari with an ice move, we still don't know exactly what's going to happen. There are some problems with white trying to invade here, which are a little bit more complicated, so we're not going to go into that just yet. But the question is, what happens if we have the possibility of doing two Chimaris? Okay. So now that we spent 3 stones, black actually has the right of claiming the corner.
Okay.
Okay. So the thing is, if white attacks, since we have the outer strength, we don't need to touch it anymore. Because remember, touching makes both strong. So if we touch white, that's gonna make white strong.
Yeah.
But we are already strong, so we don't need to touch it. We can play like this.
Okay.
And now, white needs to look for eye space. Let's say it plays like this. We can play like this because we're strong.
Yeah.
White covers. Okay, we can play like this, or even like this, because we have the connection in first line. And then there's no eye space. White doesn't have a way to close this. Maybe it has to go outside, you know? It can try to go outside, maybe it can capture that. It still has just one eye, etc. So if you have a lot of strength, you can play a little bit more risky. Now, notice that it's always from the outside. This is still an outside move. I'm not playing here. Although this probably still kills, but it's a little bit more, it's harder for you. Okay?
Yeah.
Just from the outside, just asking white, where is your eye space? Where are your eyes? Do you actually have any eyes? Etc. This shape right here, we're gonna go this on in another class. This shape is actually dead right here. It has 0 eyes. We'll see that in the future because a little bit more complicated, but yeah. So just remember that if you have a lot of strength, don't give more strength to your opponent by touching.
Okay.
This is something that tends to happen on the 4/4 Chimari. because it still looks like there's a lot of space here instead of what happens with the 3-3. Let's say like this, where the space here is really, really small. It's so hard to live down here. But yeah, we can learn how to use it basically.
Okay.
So, any doubts or ideas you have? Something you want to discuss?
Let's see. I think, well, at the end of that last game, nothing, like, I think I understand what we've gone through so far, but in that last game, I tried to do a late invasion and screwed up, but so maybe, like, covering late invasions next session would be good. I feel like that's something too complicated for just, like, 10 minutes.
We can go over the basics. So the most basic thing about late invasions is don't do it. I know that sounds contradictory, but basically, let's see if, because you might have a Mojo game. Let's see if you have a Mojo game. Okay, let me see how this closed. Okay, so there's a little bit of a Mojo game here. So, okay, so we play here, etc., etc., and then suddenly we're playing. Let's say we're here. Okay, so at this moment of the match, I have to stop playing. I have to stop thinking whatever I'm thinking. Just like close your eyes, open them again, and take a look at the board. Forget the last move, and think, oh, if white closes all this is massive, right?
Yeah.
So this is what we call a mojo, a big zone of influence, which is not necessarily points. It's only points when my opponent completely closes it, but it's still open. So this is what I mean when I say what to do with late invasions. Don't do it. Instead, stop in the middle game and say, now is the time to invade. Let's not wait until the end. Let's do it now.
Okay, gotcha.
This stone, this stone right here is actually a Takamoku, 5-4. So that means this stone doesn't have anything in the corner. This is a 5-4. It's higher than the 4-4. So this stone always goes for the side or the center. So if you approach it from here, you're basically gonna take the corner, or you're gonna take a big side, white place like this, for example. You can take like the side like this, maybe, or even like this, and maybe it's gonna look a little bit small. It doesn't matter if it leaves small, because at some point you and white probably thought this was white. If you take anything from it, it's gonna look smaller, right?
Yeah.
So just try to look for situations like that on the middle game. When can I ignore a move and just play on the bigger place? Because if we don't do it and we keep playing, suddenly there starts to be a big influence here. This is too big. This is points in 6th line. Because this is, or 5th line, I guess. Too many points. Usually we do territory on 3rd line. When we do it on 4th line, we're happy. When we do it on 5, we're probably winning the game.
Okay.
Now here, I would bet that black can still live down here, maybe? Because again, just on principles. 4th line is line of influence. 5th line is just center. So that means maybe a 3rd line below here, it can probably live. You know? If white takes the corner, I take the side. If white takes the side, I try to take the corner. That's the thing about space. We try to look for have options. You always want to have more than one option to leave.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and here, for example, oh no, this is alright because you can still reduce. Yeah. Let's see if there's one more. Pick a random one. yeah, so here, for example, we don't know about the reasons. Maybe you didn't have time, or maybe you saw this one too big, or they
I don't
saw that.
remember that one, but
Yeah, but whatever is the case, this is another place where we can play here, or here, or here. Always like it's not because with time we start developing like an instinct and an intuition that about what is big and what is small in the board, but it's actually very concrete, and it's usually one looks at, okay, third line of territory. That means I cannot really live below third line. There's no way to invade here.
yeah,
I know that not because I read it, but because I know the theory behind. The theory is third line is territory. So this is white territory. There's nothing I can do about it.
yeah.
But then also on theory, I know this fourth line is influence. That means this territory is available. So, and then later, when we apply those ideas and we play this over and over, we learn how to, develop those ideas better. But we need to start like trying them out.
Okay.
Things like that. So for the next one, I will ask you again to go over to Megos like always. I also want you to review your games. So once you finish a game, never play another one immediately.
Okay.
Never. You have to go through your previous game slowly, examine it, see, okay, where should I play here? Was this a good decision? What was I thinking here? Etc. All those things before you go to the next game. Because otherwise, some things that were going in your head through that game might happen again on the next one.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's like super important that we don't go over the same mistakes and over the same mentality. And it's always, it has to be hopefully right after the game, or maybe take a break or something and then look at it at the game, because then you're just relaxed, you don't have time, you can do it while you listen to music or something, just relax and go over games.